UIC. Freedom the people of need. Hell yeah. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Ready for broke every chain. The one that free up the people, levitate. Jamaica member, you ever great. I feel burn up the fire upon every snake. Me give thanks in every way. God still a look down once see we safe. I see around the road long time. GLP and PNP I sell we out. Still I do the test even though we know the end result. If them coulda kill with them catch we and hang we know. No force no coercion, me freedom in a step. No one fi rob we and kill we and feel them I go make it out. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. Yeah, real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Still no sound? Mic check, mic check. Can you hear me? Still not hearing me. Okay, let me see here. Mm-hmm. All right, 1 second. Let me. Can you hear me now? Oh, good, good. All right, wonderful, excellent. Thank you. Not sure what's going on here, but I'm very happy you can hear me now. Um, Wonderful. So let's start over now from the top. Let's start from the top. Excellent. So welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. This is Joseph Patterson, live from St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. This evening we're going to talk about the visit of the colonial masters to our shores. They started yesterday, and they were greeted by the Prime Minister and the opposition leader, who clearly have great regards and great respect for these individuals. But I don't share the same sentiments as the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. I don't share their sentiments at all. I believe that we should not be welcoming these individuals to our shores, and I believe if we do welcome them, it should be on something very solid. They should be coming here to give a clear apology and to announce reparations, and to announce that they will be withdrawing from our country permanently. I see where the Prime Minister today, however, announced that once again we should trust them, that they are going to do away with the crown, but we don't trust them. We have no basis or no reason at all to trust them, because we've seen how they have done over the last 78 years. We have not been able to trust them at all, because every single election cycle they make some kind of promises like these, and they never fulfill them. So do you trust them? Do you trust the the Prime Minister, the Jamaica Labour Party, the People's National Party, Mark Golden? Do you trust them to give us good governance? Do you trust them to get rid of the Queen of England and get rid of the Governor General, and to give us a solid Jamaica? Do you have that kind of trust? I don't. So I want to hear from you. Do you trust them? Hello, Prince Wiki. Hey, Craig McKenzie. Good to see you. So my question is, do you trust, not a front side, said one person. Douglas Harper said no. Yeah. Yeah. So do you trust them? Do you trust the government of Jamaica, the so-called government of Jamaica, to give us good governance, to do away with the Queen of England and the Governor General, and to put in place a system of government that would actually address the needs of the Jamaican people? Well, given the history of the two colonial parties so far, I do not see where they will do anything except some form of window dressing like Barbados or Trinidad or Guyana. I do not see them giving us a real republic anytime soon at all. In fact, I believe that the recent trip by the emissaries of the crown is really to test the waters to see whether or not they can prolong the current arrangement, or if they should modify that arrangement somewhat so that they can fool the Jamaican people again. Yeah, they fooled us before, you know. You might recall that because of their sophistry and cunning, they were able to entrap us in slavery for some 400 years. Now, you have to hand it to them. I mean, they were very smart, and they were able to, outsmart our forefathers, and captured massive number of slaves from Africa, and to ship them all over the world, particularly in the so-called New World, and were able to exploit our labor for free for some 400 years. And not just free labor, but they engaged in torture. They engaged in all manner of cruel, inhumane action. They did experimentation on us, um, without any form of anesthesia. They raped us. They sold us They mistreated us in all manner of ways. They treated us worse than animals in some cases. And they exploited years and years and years and years of economic benefit out of us, out of our foreparents. And they used those benefits to create the massive empire of Great Britain. And yesterday, two of their descendants, still enjoying the fruits of their exploitation, of their murderous and barbaric enslavement of our people and others. Two of them came to our country yesterday and were greeted as royals. Now, I take exception to the word royal because I don't see anybody as being more sovereign than me. I don't see anybody as being superior to me. Yes, we all have different skills and talents, and you might be a better player of football than me, or I might be better at accounting than you. But outside of that, we're all equal. We're all human beings, created and endowed with the same basic rights. And so nobody is supposed to be called royal relative to me or to you. Well, of course, if you want to have somebody as a royal over you, that's fine. That is your choice to make. I'm not going to deny you the right to, make for yourself a king or a queen, or to give somebody um, the power that belongs to you. That's fine. But nobody has the right to lord it over me. So there's no king or queen in my book. There is no royalty in my books. There's nobody more sovereign than me in my books. And I don't consider myself to be any more sovereign than you. In fact, if you look at the UIC's system of governance that we would like to implement in Jamaica, you would be sovereign. Now tell me, do you think you're sovereign? Do you think you are a sovereign person? Do you think you have the same amount or should have the same amount of rights as anybody else? Or do you want somebody to be a royal over you, a human god over you, a bro god over you? Do you want anything like that? Or do you want to be living in a society where all of us are equal before the law, where all of us have to work, earn, and take care of our needs like anybody else, where nobody gets to extract unfair gains or benefits because they happen to be, um, by their definition, God's anointed to be Lord over the rest of us? Now, that's what kings and queens are. Kings and queens are persons who believe they have a divine right to rule, and they hand down this rule by hereditary to their kins, to their next of kins, to their children, to their descendants. And we are supposed to worship them. We're supposed to be their subjects. We're supposed to work for them. No, I don't join that. And I take great exception to the fact that we continue to live in a country where we have people talking about Your Royal Highness. We have people talking about crown lands. We have judges wearing weird looking wigs on their heads to implicate that they to imply that they come under this great body of monarchy. It's about time we stop this, guys. It's about time we get rid of this system once and for all. We need to get rid of this system once and for all. And I can assure you that those who are in authority right now, they have no intention, no matter how much they promise you, they have no intention of getting rid of this system properly. Yes, they might do a superficial thing. They might get rid of the name Governor General and replace it with a ceremonial president, which will still act and behave in the ways of the colonial structures. And so, what you're going to have is a different name, but the same system. They're going to further hide the reality from your obvious vision, while underneath they would have ensured that the structures remain just the same. The same structure of corruption will remain in place. The Prime Minister will have the same kind of outsized powers that allows him to engineer a corrupt system of governance that continues to bleed the treasure of the Jamaican people. away from us and into the hands of a few, their friends in the upper echelon of the private sector organization of Jamaica, and to their colonial masters, who find various ways, circuitous routes, to extract our wealth. You might remember I told you about the recent extraction that took place when they gave away the central bank to the private banking cartels, along with $20.6 billion of your and my hard earned money that they have given away to them. There are all kinds of structures that they use to extract our wealth. So let me ask you a simple question, a basic question, very, very simple question. Should our government, if it is our government, should our government be paying for the symbols of slavery to come to our country on a fashion show, on a goodwill tour, in an attempt to wow the Jamaican people into continuing some semblance of the monarchy? Should we, the Jamaican people, have been forced by taxation to pay for this kind of atrocity, in my view? To have the very people who kidnapped us, raped us, enslaved us, destroyed our families, destroyed our culture, destroyed our understanding of self, and gave us a country that is almost ungovernable because of the bad system of governance that we have. Should our government use our money to pay for such people to come to our country while they were offering loans to our students to extract them from the Ukraine? Seriously, should we be in a system where our government is taking our tax dollars to pay for such charade, to pay for such despicable display of our abductors, of criminals, really? They're representing a criminal enterprise. Should our government be paying for that? Should our tax dollars be paying for that? It's not our government. Because the truth is, the what we call government in Jamaica is not our government. What we have instead is a system that allows the private sector organization of Jamaica to use two parties to give us the fake semblance of having a democracy, and they spend a portion of their monies to market to us, to fool us up, to play games with us, to rile us up, to get us excited, to go out and vote every 5 or 4 years for one side or the other of the same coin, and then spend the next 4 to 5 years extracting our wealth while distracting us with all forms of political games like they're doing now. Right now, you see it happening right before your eyes. They have this grandstanding that they call a budget, and then they play games, and we even take them seriously. People actually take them seriously. They play this game that they call the annual budget, and just before they have an election, what do? They start to offer us a number of goodies. Promise number one, promise number two, promise number three, promise number four. They even give us a few dollars here and there. And they make nice, grand announcements about the future, what they're going to do. And we line up and dip our fingers in ink and mark an X like a wrong bang to say which of the two deceivers we're going to elect to form our government. And we do that every 4 to 5 years, over and over and over again, getting the very same results, and doing it over and over again. Now, to be fair to my people, you have been fairly smart, because every election cycle, less and less of you have been going to the polls to vote. You have been staying away from voting because you finally realize the game, the trick. that you're not really getting anywhere. You still have to work very, very hard to survive. And every year it gets harder and harder and harder and harder to survive. We're at the point now in our history where most of our children are depressed by the time they leave high school. It used to be that you get a little older first. Now they're depressed from high school because they see no future. They see no hope. They don't see any opportunity to have a decent lifestyle, to start a family, a decent family, and have any hope of progressing normally through the normal cycles of a family. Our young people today don't see how they're going to be able to buy a home, how they're going to be able to start a family and raise children, how they're going to be able to fund and finance their children's education through university. In fact, right now, they see their parents suffering. They have to buy cheap food. They can't buy good food. They can't have a decent cart of grocery. They can't go to the markets and pick up a full amount of provisions for the family. Right now, they're seeing that. They're realizing that being a teacher or a nurse or a police officer is not as good as being a scammer. They're losing respect for basic institutions. They're losing respect for their parents. They're losing respect for professionals in society. Why? Because every year, life in this country gets harder and harder and harder. But right now, we see on display, our government has on display what they call the royal family members. They have on display these royal specimens in front of the Jamaican people, parading them around, yeah, parading them around, showing them off, having our little children pushing their hands through fence wires to touch these gods and goddesses, yeah, having our people look at them with worshipping status as if these people are some kind of gods. You would think that we have passed this level. You would think that our education system would have been so enriching, so powerful, that every Jamaican would have turned their backs on these people the moment they step off the plane. But instead, what do you see? You see our people running to worship them, running to touch them. You would think you're looking at an episode from the 1600s when the white men first set their feet on any particular shore, and you have these little films of the natives coming out to touch this uh, white skin. What a shame! What a shame! What a shame! Look at us, still worshiping white people as if they're better than us. White people are not better than us. White people, just like us. Having a white skin or a black skin doesn't make you any less or any better than anyone. What matters is the content of your character. And if these persons who came here as royals had any character, they would have denounced their royal status. They would have denounced the institution of slavery that we now call the monarchy, or the crown. They would have walked away from all of that and said, no, this is wrong, and I refuse to be a part of it. Instead, they come here to carry on the legacy, to try to lengthen the period that we would be somewhat attached to this body. Well, I'm here to tell them that the United Independence Congress of Jamaica say, no way. We don't want you here. We don't even want to meet with you. We don't want anything from you, as a matter of fact. Yes, it would be good if you would come to your senses and apologize for what you have done. That would be lovely. It would be even better if you did to us today what you did to the slave owners yesterday when you abolished slavery in Jamaica and gave them millions of dollars, in fact, billions of dollars in today's rate, for the loss of their property, which is the slaves. Do you understand now why the UIC is so keen on making every Jamaican a property owner? We are going to give back to you what the monarchy and their representative here have taken from you. The monarchy and the two colonial parties here have taken away your inheritance and behave as though it is theirs to do what they wish with. The People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party are nothing but representatives of the Crown. They have run this country on behalf of the Crown. They have carried out the wishes of the leaders of the Crown. They are doing what the colonial masters have told them to do from day one until today. In the 1930s, they got rid of Marcus Garvey and the first political party formed by the people of Jamaica. And they established themselves as the two party that claims to represent the people of Jamaica. But it was all a trick, a very skillful trick. And they've been tricking the Jamaican people from 1944 with the first election to this very day, as this Prime Minister gets ready to call another election to fool the people of Jamaica again. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people in both of those parties, from the past to the present, who may not have been aware of what is going on. They may not have been very clear on what they are actually moving forward on behalf of the colonial masters. They were blinded by the trickery of the colonial masters. Some of them did not realize that what they were doing was continuing the trick of 1838 and the trick of 1938 and the trick of 1944 and the trick of 1962. But here's what I want you to think about. Whether they did it knowingly or not, here's the fact. They did it anyway. And people who should have known better either didn't know better or didn't care to know better. And so they have continued the legacy. They have continued the legacy of colonialism from way back when, from before the 1600s until now. They have continued the legacy of colonialism. And right this minute, we have one of the most skillful architects of continuing colonialism as Prime Minister and opposition leader of this country. We have never had a more cunning and more skillful Prime Minister at tricking the people of Jamaica. Even now, he's trying to carry out a masterful plan of tricking the people. He wants to get back to the 81% favorability ratings that he had before he took us down this miserable path of trying to inject the entire nation. After he abused this nation, after he locked up those who wanted to express themselves about what he's doing wrong, after he fined poor people thousands of dollars for simply not wearing his diabolical mask, after he has cornered the small man and the small woman and destroyed their economy in an attempt to force them to take a foreign substance, after he blocked Jamaican solutions from the Jamaican people and blocked cheaper solutions from the Jamaican people. He consistently tried to force the Jamaican people to take a substance they did not even need to take. Right now, the 21 or 2 or 3% who have taken it, many of them are outraged today because they realize they never had to take it. There was no reason why we had to be forced to take the substance. But he forced them anyways. And when he couldn't do it directly because he lied that he wasn't going to mandate it, he went through the back door and got his private sector friends to help him to do it. And they forced and forced and forced the employees. And he forced the teachers. And he forced the police officers. He used our poverty against us. He used the poverty that he and the other party has enforced on the Jamaican people. He used the poverty. Yes, he used our poverty against us because they made us poor. It is under these two parties that the Jamaican people have declined year after year. In 1962, we were at the top of the Caribbean production-wise. We had significant wealth in so many areas, in agriculture, in tourism, in bauxite, in light manufacturing. And over time, they squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until there's almost nothing left. They've squeezed us so much that now we hardly own anything in our own country. Most of our country is being owned by foreigners. Every direction you turn, all the industries are being taken over by foreigners. And I have nothing against foreigners, but I have something against a government that weakens its people to the point where they can't own anything. Everything is owned by foreigners. Up until now, you cannot get the proper FinSAC report to be published. You still can't hear what happened, what caused FinSAC, who was benefited, and who was destroyed, and why. All that they've done is systematically sold out everything that belonged to the Jamaican people. And right now, they're busy trying to sell off our lands. They're busy trying to destroy and suck out the wealth out of our lands and will leave us with nothing. They will destroy our water table. They will destroy our biodiversity. And when they finish with us, we will again be truly slaves. Look at us. Just look around you. Look around you. Look at what is happening around you. Look at your own state of life. Look at the people next door to you. What do you see happening? Yeah. What do you see happening in Jamaica all around you? You just look. Every day, more and more people are slipping into poverty. The poor is getting poorer, and the middle class is joining the poor. While they talk about growth. Yes, there is growth. There's money in Jamaica. There's lots of money in Jamaica. It's just that most of it is in the hands of a few. And whatever passed through the hands of the poor just passed through the hands of the poor. Because they only get so much pay to exist. They get only so much pay to exist, to go back to work the next morning. Whatever you get as your pay is only to put basic food in your mouth, basic clothes on your back, pay for basic shelter, and pay for transportation to go back to work the next day. Why do you think police officers are working 2 and 3 jobs? Why do you think you have police officers who are taking jobs to be hitmen? Why do you think teachers are not focused on teaching because they have to be hustling? Why do you think nurses are so frustrated and angry in the job and cannot provide good customer service? Because they are suffering. And the only way for them to get ahead in this country is if they engage in some kind of side hustle. And that side hustle includes corruption. So the whole fabric of our society becomes corrupt. If the teacher can't depend on her salary to be able to take care of her family, she has to find another way. He has to find another way. And so while he is in the classroom, his mind is somewhere else. While the police is on the job, supposed to be protecting us and securing us, his mind is somewhere else. Yes, while the nurse should be taking care of your health in the hospital, her mind is somewhere else. I'm not lying, it's true, just ask anybody. It could very well be that the same nurse has to thief some supplies to sell somewhere to make up her salary. I'm not endorsing this. I'm saying this is what might happen. It's very possible that a teacher may focus on having some kind of extra lesson where the students' parents have to pay them so that the extra lesson money can make up our money. It's very possible that the civil servant engages in all kind of corrupt activity to make up his salary. This is the Jamaica that the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party have taken the last 78 years to create. Now you look at the size of the budget. The size of the budget tells you Jamaica has enough money to do what needs to be done. What we don't have is a government that is committed to do what needs to be done. What we have is a government that is committed to continuing the system of thievery, the system of corruption. And so what they really work on now, what they spend their time and energy on now is public relations, marketing. Yeah? How to send the fool a little farther. How to trick the fool. And me and you are the fool, And me and you don't want trick. And to be honest, they have done it several times and we're falling for it. But let me ask you a question. Will you fall for the trick again? Will you fall for the trick in the 78th year of the trickery? Will you fall for the trick again? Let me hear from you. Will you fall for the trick again? Will you go out there and vote JLP and PNP again? Will you go out there and vote PNP and JLP again? That's the question. That is the question. I am begging you, I am pleading with you. If you love your country, if you love your children, if you want a better standard of living, if you want Jamaica to come out of the dungeon and start to experience real prosperity, I beg of you, I beg you, don't let them trick you again. The UIC will not have the money. We will not have the money unless you give it to us. We will not have the money to do all the fancy advertisement. We will not have the money to run up and down all over the place and beg you your vote. We will not have the money to buy votes, and if we had it, we would not use our money to buy votes. So the only way that we're going to have a change in this country is if you really want it. Is if you are prepared to get up and stand up and fight for your rights. The UIC is the People's Party. The UIC is Jamaica's party. The UIC is committed to creating one Jamaica. One Jamaica, united, strong, and free. The UIC is ready and willing to get rid of the system of governance that has been undermining you and your family for your entire life. The UIC is committed to creating a new Jamaica, a real new Jamaica, a Jamaica where every single person that's born in this country or who migrates to this country will be able to live, earn, and retire with dignity in this country. I can't make you any grand promises. I can't suggest to you that we can work any miracles. But there are some basic things we can do. There are some basic things we can do to make Jamaica better. The first thing we have to do to make Jamaica better is to get rid of the colonial constitution. That's the first thing. We have to have a constitution that respects you as a person. We have to have a constitution that says you are sovereign. We have to have a constitution that even a child can understand. And it must go like this. It must begin with the fundamental principle, basic principle, that you are a sovereign individual, that you have a right to life, liberty, and property, and that nobody, no group, no government must be able to initiate force or use fraud to take your life, your liberty, or your property. That is a fundamental promise I can make to you for the UIC. And that is the beginning of prosperity. If we want to have a prosperous country, we have to make sure that we protect your fundamental human rights, even from the government. So, what you want to have is a government that is there to protect your life, your liberty, and your property, and provide you the public infrastructure and public goods and services that you need to achieve your maximum potential. And you want a constitution that fully protects you from the government. Because government sometimes can go wrong, just like we saw in the last 2 years. Never again should we have a government that has the power to do what this government has done and is even now doing. Yesterday, the UIC went out to kick off the One Jamaica Walk for unity, for liberty, and healthy living. Before I could finish getting my shower and come out of the bathroom, I got a call from the police threatening me that I do not have the right to go out and walk or march or protest. They said it doesn't matter what you call it. Whether you call it a walk or a march or a protest, you do not have permission. And they said to me, stand down, stand down, stand down. And when I tried to explain myself, they just hung up the phone on me because them have the right, me not have none. We have a system in Jamaica here where we, the citizens, don't have the right. The only people who have rights are those in power. Whether they have the power of government, or they have the power of being a police officer, or they have the power of being in charge of a ministry or an agency. Them have power. We, the people, don't have no power. All they want us for is to go vote. After that, we have no power. And when we go and vote, guess what? We hardly have any power because those with the money are the ones who can get the votes because they can buy enough votes to win. So you and me don't have no power in this country. All the power resides with the Prime Minister and those who have his blessings. We don't have no power in this country. Don't be fooled. This is no democracy. There is no freedom in Jamaica. Jamaica is a police state. And so the police called me and threatened me yesterday. Stand down, Mr. Patterson, stand down, they tell me in powerful voice because them have the power and them warn me that if me not stand down, them going to deal with me properly. No, he didn't say that last part, but that was the implication. And so yesterday, Vice President Colleen Ramirez Acosta, together with Captain Babatunda and Vice President Burke, Councillor Douglas, Councillor Candidate Wolf, council candidate Kerry, many others went out and turned up at Ward Theatre 9 a.m. yesterday morning. Before them could set them foot good, the police was all over the place. All over the place. Scanning and scouting, all of them. They had some in police uniform, some in plain clothes, some pretending to be persons interested in the UIC, coming to ask how they can join the movement and so on. All kind of secret police stuff. All kind of secret agents. All kind of infiltrators came to the march. The police sent on their political mission to carry out political directives, to undermine the UIC, to crush the UIC, and if possible to arrest me. So they're all out there, all of them out there yesterday. Yes. And they looked and looked and looked, but they couldn't see me anywhere. I could see them, but they couldn't see me. And they're looking all over, asking, where's Patterson? Indirectly. And they're looking for me, looking for me, looking for me, because they have their intentions, you see. You notice what they have done? They have pushed the court case, the Supreme Court case that we brought against the government, that is a prelude to their case that they brought against me. They have pushed it way out to 2024. You know why they did that? They push it out to 2024 so that they can keep me wrapped up in the courts month after month after month, wasting my time, wasting my money. Yeah. Trying to whittle me down, trying to wear me out, trying to make me broke, trying to rob you, the Jamaican people, of representation. That's what they're doing. They send infiltrators within the UIC, trying to disparage my clean character. They couldn't find anything. They checked my background, they couldn't find anything that they could pin on me. So what they do? They send some infiltrator on the inside. They know our weaknesses. They know that we are a fledgling political party, as the Gleaner call us. They know that we don't have wholly sophistication. Why? Because they themselves try to crush us. They make sure we can't get a commercial bank account. Yes. Every bank we go to, they tell us no. Why they tell us no? Here's their excuse. Here's the excuse. Listen carefully. The excuse from the banks is that we can't verify, we can't satisfy them. We can't verify where the people who donate get their money from. Think about it. How does the PNP and the GLP verify where the people who donate to them get their money from? So I said to the bank, tell us how them do it and we will do the same thing. Tell us how the GLP and the PNP and all the other charities out there who get donation, tell us how them account for the money. Tell us how them confirm where the money come from that people donate to them, and we, the UIC, will follow the same thing. They said that is confidential. They can't tell us that. Hogwash. Nothing but trickery. Nothing but political victimization shrouded in regulation. This is the kind of governance we have in Jamaica, with gatekeepers, vindictive gatekeepers, operating with political motives to lock out and undermine those who they want to lock out and undermine in the economy, and to let through those who they wish to let through in the economy. That is what is going on in Jamaica. That is why there are so many poor people, because you can't get through in this country unless you're connected to those who control the gates. You have to fight harder, struggle longer, suffer more if you're going to have any form of success at all. The JLP and the PNP are enemies of the people of Jamaica. Their system of governance is a reflection of the colonial masters that they pay obeisance to. That is why they have no problem welcoming the very embodiment of slavery to our shores with red carpets. That is why they're happy to be photographed beside them. They are like the house slave welcoming the slave master back to his plantation, while the field slaves look on, some with adoration, and a few of us with the seed of rebellion burning in our hearts. Well, I want to let them know that I am going to lead the rebellion. The UIC is going to lead the rebellion to overturn this slave plantation. And we are going to free the people of this nation. We are not going to stop until the system of colonialism is broken and demolished and destroyed in Jamaica. We are going to make Jamaica a true republic, a nation that respects the sovereignty of the individual, not a fake republic that simply changes the name of the institutions but keep everything in place. We don't want a Barbados fake republic. We don't want a Trinidad fake republic. We don't want a Guyana fake republic. We don't even want a US trying republic. We want a true republic in Jamaica, and the United Independence Congress of Jamaica is going to make Jamaica that one true republic in the world where freedom truly reigns. We are going to be the home of the brave and the land of the free. We are going to be that true beacon on a hill where freedom is concerned. And when we free the people of Jamaica, when we fly the gate for the small man in Jamaica, when we fly the gate for the micro enterprise in Jamaica, when we fly the gate for all those brilliant minds who have been locked out of their own country and sent into economic exile, you're going to see the prosperity that is real, not the fake prosperity, but real prosperity from the bottom up. You're going to see grassroots prosperity for the first time in this country when we're done. So, my friends, I am telling you, this cannot happen simply because Joseph L. Patterson wants it to happen. This cannot happen because any one of you out there wish for it to happen. This can only happen if all of you listening to me now decide that we are going to join hands together and fight to the bitter end to make it happen. It's not enough for me to go out there and get locked up for all of it. It is time for all of us to go out there and make sure none of we get locked up again. We have to make sure that the police know who is in charge. That real power lies with the people. We have to make sure that the politicians know that their 21% vote that makes them government does not make them governor over us. We, the people of Jamaica, here in Jamaica and all around the world, have to join together in the UIC, volunteer in the UIC, and fund the UIC to take back our country from end to end and sea to sea. Let us take back Jamaica for the first time in its history. Let's finish the work that Nani started. Let's finish the work that Sam Sharp died for. Let's finish the work that Paul Bogle walked for. Let's finish the work that George William Gordon was hanged for. Let's finish the work that Marcus Garvey lived for. Let us finish the work. They have done an amazing job. When you think about the work that Marcus Garvey has done, the power of that man without any so-called formal education, how he moved a nation, the United States of America, how he was able to galvanize and lift up the black masses in that country, how he caused them to have hope, how he caused them to see value in their own productivity and creativity, how he brought out the industry in them to the point where an entire agency had to be formed against him by the government of that country. Let's do it again, and this time let's do it better, and this time let's finish the work for Marcus Garvey. Let us create that new Jamaica. Let Jamaica be the example of what Africa can become. Let Jamaica be that one space on the universe that every black woman, man, woman, and child will look to and say, ha, that is the example of real black power. Now is the time, my friends, for us to create that real republic. Now is the time for us to do what others have hoped and dreamt about. Let us do what Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and all of those great men, even Gandhi, let us do what they only dreamt about. Let us not seek to be accepted by any so-called royals. Let us not try to placate them. Let us not try to give them any sense that somehow they are superior to us and we're inferior. Let them take their royalty and their monarchy and go put it somewhere else. We don't even care if they won't give us any so-called reparation. We can produce and fend for ourselves. The UIC is very committed to making Jamaica self-reliant, and we can do it. We can do it. We don't need to depend on borrowing any money from anybody. We can become food secure. We have everything we need here to be food secure. Everything. We have all the land we need here. Let me put it in context for you. Let me try to explain what's going on here. Singapore is 1/15 the size of Jamaica. 1/15. And in their small little area, St. Thomas, that's the size of Singapore, St. Thomas, they have been able, in St. Thomas, okay, the size of St. Thomas, they have been able to make rings around us with that small piece of land. And they have just about over 6 million people in the size of St. Thomas. Yeah, 6 million people in the size of St. Thomas. And they have outperformed us on every single indices, every single one. In terms of security, they're way ahead of us. In terms of productivity, they're way ahead of us. In terms of cleanliness, they're way ahead of us. In terms of education, they're way ahead of us. How did they get there? They got there because they had leaders who truly hated the colonial system and the colonial masters, and therefore did not try to emulate them, but learned from their trickery and learned from other countries. Lee Kuan Yew came here. Lee Kuan Yew came to Jamaica, and he learned from what we were doing here, the foolishness we were doing here. He learned from it. He said, let's not follow Jamaica and do those foolishness. He went to the US and he looked at what's going on. Said, let's not do those. Let's do that instead. He traveled around. Now, I have had the privilege of traveling myself. So I've been to China, I've been to India, I've been to different countries in Europe, North America, the Caribbean, over Asia, and I've seen different systems, I've seen different countries, I've seen different approaches. And so what I've done, I've spent the last 10 years putting together the model that we need for Jamaica. And that model that we have created for Jamaica gives us a system of governance that not just gets rid of the Queen, because that's not enough. Getting rid of the Queen is easy. Getting rid of the Governor General is easy. The question is, what system will you put in place? And I tell you the truth, we cannot afford to put in place the same system we have now and simply change the titles of the persons sitting in the different seats. We need a complete restructuring, and the UIC has that system. Anyways, I have a special guest tonight. One of the organizers of the what do you call it now? The little what's the word I want to use for this? I don't want to call it the wrong thing. I'm going to let her tell us what it was. But I have Miss Rosalie Hamilton on the line, waiting to come in, and she's going to share with us what they wanted to get across to the so-called royals on the 22nd in front of the British High Commission. Um, Miss Hamilton and a number of others, including members of the UIC. I was very happy that a contingent of us could go out there about 10:30 in the morning yesterday and lend some support, because I fully support the entire letter, even though I'm not big on the apology thing, but I support the call for that. Give us the apology, and of course give us the reparation. But most importantly, let's make sure we, the Jamaican people, do what we need to do. So let me welcome on stage Miss Hamilton. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not bad at all. I was just bellowing out my throat here um, to my fellow Jamaicans, because I'm really passionate about the subject, and I'm looking forward to us doing something really miraculous in the next few months and the next year, and hopefully putting Jamaica on a new trajectory. But tell us, what happened on the 22nd? What were you trying to achieve? What message did you get across, and how was that received by whoever you wanted to receive it?
It was important to communicate to the royals that there are some Jamaicans who are have not forgotten the past and wanted to bring to their attention some reasons why. We could have easily put 400 reasons for every 100 years of enslavement, but we thought 60 would have symbolizes 60 years of independence, and we crafted it in a way that could capture, from the inception, the treatment of the indigenous people right down to today. And we wanted them to understand that we're not going to celebrate their grandmother's 70 years on the throne. There's nothing to celebrate. We're still living with the legacies of 300 years of inhumane treatment. And that, it's time for that apology and reparation. The apology is the first stage. It's really just part of the formal process of getting that reparation. And I think about it very simply. I grew up in a home, and I think most Jamaicans listening went up in a home where if you do something bad, you must apologize. Just apologize. So once you do that, now we can start to talk about whether you should get a beating, or whether, whatever, right? But we're not promoting any beating, of course, but there are many ways to resolve the problem once a wrong was done. And I think it's in that context we see this first step as a package: apology, reparation. Importantly, of course, we use the occasion to try to educate the public and bring awareness, because many of us who are educated, quite frankly, I include myself with PhDs, I'm still learning about my history. This is not a finished process. And I think it's true to say that historians are still learning as they unearth information that was lost or hidden, or they redefine and reinterpreted the history we were taught through different lenses. So it's an ongoing process, and I think we bearing that in mind and recognizing that we're still trying to find the details of our history, we should pay attention to the implications of that historic past and what's happening now in Jamaica. So it was a twofold strategy to bring attention to that historical background, details to the public, and details that many Jamaicans, most people reading those 60 reasons say, oh, they've learned something. And we definitely wanted to achieve that. And we
I think,
hope that the message to the royals was sent.
yeah, man, I really enjoyed reading the letter, because it was a good history lesson, a good reminder, and I want to encourage everyone to get a copy of the letter and to read it. Where can they find a copy of the letter, Miss Hamilton?
Actually, they can just send us an email at advocatesnet@gmail.com. So
Okay.
it's advocates, ADVOCATES net NET @gmail.com.
Okay, wonderful. And tell us about Advocates. What is it? What's the group name again? Advocates what?
Advocates Network.
Network.
So yes, so it's a newly formed coalition of individuals and organizations, who are concerned about human rights and good governance. And so we've tackled the issue of, the alleged abuse by a member of parliament based on that video. We've tackled the matter of the African, the Nzinga locks, and continuing issues about African hair. We've tackled some of the gender-based issues as well, brought attention, added attention to the FLA issue, the Fire Licensing Authority, and so on. So we've been monitoring, and we work with organizations like, a part of the collaboration include JAMP, the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, the National Integrity Action, and Stand Up Jamaica, and there's several other organizations that are part of this, and we're collaborating. And we took this on because we saw, the heart of this issue is a human rights issue. We're talking about crimes against humanity. And therefore, it's in that sense, we thought this was an occasion to really stand up and say to Jamaicans, breaches, these abuses of human rights, these atrocities ought to be recognized, ought to be addressed. And I think the path to reparation provides a framework for doing so. Right.
Do you feel confident though about an organization like yours and many others? We've had in Jamaica a number of organizations popping up over the years, talking about these things, exactly what you're talking about: human rights abuses, governance failures, lapses of all forms and sort in terms of corruption and all of that. And we've seen this for years. And as a boy, when I was growing up, I used to wonder. I used to hear like Mutty Perkins talking and all these talk shows, and they talk about all these things, but nothing. Well, something changed. It gets worse, actually. Year after year we talk, and it gets worse. I've never seen Jamaica as bad as it is now under our own rule. We're not talking about colonial. When the colonial masters were fully in charge, it was horrible, right? People walking barefoot to school, lousy school, horrible healthcare, terrible housing. In the colonial, when the colonial guys were in charge, then we took over. We started taking over in 1944, and we had certain role and position in the government. Then we got to 1962, and we now have so-called independence, and we get only for money for borrow to build a school, and we get money for borrow to do this, and then we say the greatest budget of $1 billion, and our roads can't fix, and our schools can't have science equipment, and our nurses are suffering, our police are suffering. But we talk, and we have all these talk shops, you understand? Talk, 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 talk. And we're talking to the same guys, these two major colonial parties, right, that got the blessings of the crown, and with two white men who started them. And they've been there for a while. We're talking to them. At what point? At what point do we move from the talking to the acting? To say, hey, enough of this, fill in the blank, right? Enough of this. When do we move from the talking to the acting to say, we now are going to make a really big move and just sweep out this foolishness that we call, government, this thing that we call government here, and say, let's just fix this because it's not working for us. At what point do we do that, Ms. Hamilton? What do you think?
I would say at the point when the people of Jamaica decide that they've had enough and they want a different approach to governance. I'm saddened that, a few years ago, I did a project while I was at the University of Technology, Jamaica, and I was really saddened by the views that I got from Jamaicans when I asked one simple question. And we spoke to about 5,000 Jamaicans up and down, and in every parish. We had workshops over a 3-year period. And the question was, who owns Jamaica? And every group said, foreigner, Chinese, white people, everybody else except we. And that was a very informative conversation, because if you don't feel that you own Jamaica, you're not going to take responsibility. You're not going to act. You're going to sit down. I used to talk about us seeing ourselves as tenants, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
And squatters,
yes.
right? And as long as we continue to see ourselves as squatters and tenants, and somebody else owns the land and this place we call Jamaica, then I'm sorry, Mr. Patterson, this will continue.
Yeah.
I don't expect leaders to make this substantive change. And I say this because even if tomorrow morning you had the best leader, you want to lead this country, you decide to take charge of this country. If the Jamaican people want the same old, not much going to change.
So
First of all, you would not be able to take power. Right?
well,
Because as long as you want a country in the interest of the people and people continue to think and feel the same way, then we're stuck. But I want to say to you that it is my view that the people of Jamaica understand deep down in their belly that the system we have is not working.
no, I
And
agree.
I
I agree
think,
with you.
yeah,
I
and
think
I,
I think the people of Jamaica are now ready. I don't think they've ever been more ready than now. I think this is how I see Jamaicans, right? We are very patient. We like to give people a chance, and you'd have heard this. You'd hear them say, "All right, get a PNP a chance, no, or get a GLP a chance, no." And then what the GLP and PNP use on us now, they change leaders. So they say, "Okay, it's a new leader now. Give him a chance, no,
yes,
or
yes.
give she a
And
chance, no."
we've seen that for 60 years.
Yes, and so we have been giving them a chance. No, I say 78 years because a long time ago, 78 years from 1944. We have been
Yeah, yeah.
giving them a chance, and we give white. We had the half white man time, then we had the black man time, then we had the woman time, then we have the young people time. We have Andrew who come after, who born
Yeah,
after.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We have tried the young, we have tried the woman, we have tried the black man, and we have had the semi-white man them run as well. So I think we have now given them enough chances. Enough has been given. And what I've also noticed is that over the last 3 or 4 election cycles, you see a continuous increase in the number of Jamaicans who are opting out of the electoral process.
Yes, absolutely.
They're just opting out. And that is their way of responding. Now, where leadership comes in now, Miss Hamilton, where leadership comes in now is where somebody is brave enough, seriously committed enough to say, let's provide a real alternative. Because what I've seen, third parties continue to fail in Jamaica because, one, they don't have the funding. That's one of the things we say, they don't have the funding. And two, I think they didn't really offer anything different. They simply say, give me a turn to try to do what they have done with the same system. But now we have an alternative that is overcoming the money gap by reaching to the actual Jamaican people. You have to fund the party. You, the Jamaican people, have to fund your own party. We have to fund it. The diaspora of Jamaica have to fund it. The local Jamaica. We have to volunteer. We have to ban our belly, not to ban the ass of before. We were ban our belly before to help them. Now let's ban our belly to help ourselves and get rid of the system. And so I am seeing a change now in the Jamaican people. In fact, that's where the Andre Stevens are coming from. That's where we're getting more information about the corruptions inside of Pretoria because people are getting tired now. It's leaking out. It's coming out. You understand? And so I think we are ready now. This is how ready we have been. The challenge is, are we willing to stay the course? Are we willing to suffer enough? And I want to challenge people like you, Mrs. Hamilton. Not for you to do anything now. I'm not going to set you up. But I want to challenge the people like you, people who are bright and smart and intelligent and have PhDs and master's degrees and all of these wonderful stuff to know Step over the line. Step over the the careful line. The line where I need to protect myself line. And put yourself on the front now and be willing to say like Bustamante, shoot me and leave the people. What a game that was. It's time now for us to step forward. I have stepped forward. I am more privileged than most Jamaicans, right? Big education, lovely career, made the money, build my house, could just stop and just enjoy it and be like a tourist in my own country, put up the security cameras, pay for the security systems and whatever. I could just do that. But I've decided, no, I don't want to bequeath this kind of legacy to my three girls. Yeah, I want them to know that their father didn't just follow in the footsteps of his father and his mother and allow this thing to continue. I want my daughters to say, my father stood up and helped to change Jamaica into what it should be from what it is. And I want to encourage you and all the other intellectuals in this country to say, it's time for us to step forward. Be the Lee Kuan Yew of Jamaica. He did it in Singapore. Let us do it here in Jamaica. It's time for black men and women to retake their place at the front line of the battle for liberty, for justice, and build the united Jamaica that we want to see. What do you say to that?
Amen. You've been preaching. Let me
Thank you.
say that there are lots of things that's happening right now in the world that is forcing this change. The COVID pandemic, let's start there. It has had significant impact on many Jamaicans. And so during the period, the 2 year period, a lot of us had time to sit down and think and plan and strategize. So some of us have decided that we're just a few years away from the end game, and like could live comfortably, but we are thinking about the future of this country and our children's future. And I think when you think in those terms, all of us in different ways must make that decision to act and to do something. And I must say, I give a lot of credit to the individuals and organizations that have been collaborating with us in the Advocates Network, because we come from all walks of life and we have been engaged in whether it's violence against women, whether it's gender-based violence, including violence against men, whether it is the governance issues of corruption, working in the prisons. We're doing a lot of work on the ground. We're working with at-risk youths and vulnerable people, and we see the difficulties. And many of us have said enough is enough. And what is interesting is that we've all come from that. Many of us born in that colonial period, just before independence or just after. And so we've seen firsthand the 60 years. And I want young people to listen carefully, because we've seen it all. We've seen the games, we understand the roots. Some of us were actually there and we participated actively and so on. So there's a lot of experience on the ground. And I think that if we can find young people who can collaborate and work with people with experience, with skills, with knowledge, and a depth of understanding of the realities of all of Jamaica, that kind of coming together can make a difference. And we have defined our movement as a non-partisan group because we feel that there is an important space for civil society, but there's also an important role for reshaping the political order. And I would just say enough respect for the work that you're doing and the people who are part of your organization. I urge you to create new options for the Jamaican people that don't look like the current political options that Jamaicans have and have been presented. And when you present something different, you give Jamaicans a real chance. And what I would say in closing with respect to these comments, that in my mind, the fundamental issues go to the extent to which we create a governance arrangement that truly give our people a voice, that can truly empower the Jamaican people, so that 10 years from now, when that question is asked about who owns Jamaica, there'll be absolutely no doubt, because we have institutions in place that ensure that all of us have a stake, and in so doing, have a say in the decisions that ought to be made. And I think that the Republic, this discussion about severing our relationship with the Queen of England and establishing a republic, provides an excellent opportunity for us to say, what exactly is a republic? What does that mean? It's not just words. And you can Google the definition of republic, and you will come across this idea of government by the people. We can no longer continue to feel we are squatters. We can no longer continue to feel that we're tenants in a land that we don't own. And so if we can, in fact, put different governance arrangements in place that make Jamaicans feel they actually own this place, because their voice matters, their decisions matter, then I think we can have a different future. And I think it's especially valid now, coming out of a pandemic, when the complexities of the challenges we face are such that I am convinced no few of us, even with our PhDs, don't have the answers. And I think we have to be humble enough and honest enough to say that. But answers reside in all of us. Let's throw in our ideas, let's throw in our skills and our talents and our experiences, and let's come up with an answer. And so I hope that that model of the Republic is shaped by the voices of all of us who say, hey, this is what I think it would look, this is what I want that Republic to look like. And let's craft an arrangement. Let's embed it in our constitution. Let's put the legal frameworks and structure in place, and let's create a different future for Jamaica.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm hearing a feedback coming through, but thank you for being here, and we appreciate your input, and we look forward to more engagements with you. Have a good night.
Looking forward to it.
Take care.
All the best.
Okay, take care, my dear.
Thank you.
All right, so there you had it. You heard from Miss Rosalie Hamilton, who was one of the conveners of the action at the British High Commission, giving us some very good insights as to her thoughts and what's happening in the space outside of the political realm. You know me, I really believe that it's a political solution. It's good what we do in terms of civil society. That's very, very important. And I want to encourage everybody to get involved in some shape or form. But really, at the end of the day, if we don't change the political trajectory, those in power will simply pull the rug out from under our feet. That's what they're doing. That's why many Jamaicans are landless today. That's why many persons are poorly educated today. That's why a number of persons are ill-equipped to deal with the modern economy that is evolving, the high-tech economy, the what do you call it now? The artificial intelligence community, the coding community. So it's time for us as Jamaicans to really, really step up, right? It's time for us to step up now and not play the game anymore of having talk shops. The talking time is up. The acting time is now. It's time for us to actually make the change that we need. And I, for one, have absolutely no confidence at all in any of the two colonial parties that have led us from 1944 to now. They have had more than enough time to show that they can manage and lead us in the right direction, and instead they have led us in the wrong direction, and they have poorly managed every aspect of our society. They have destroyed our social fabric, they have destroyed our economic fabric, and they have not evolved our political institutions to be able to serve the people of Jamaica. So I am tired of the talking. Now I'm about action. So, what I want to say to our intellectuals, stop the talking and get involved in the political process by joining the UIC and helping me to get the job done. Don't just sit on the fringes and wait for something to happen. If you understand money and business, if you understand education and healthcare, if you understand environment or geopolitics, if you understand national security, if you understand engineering and construction and public administration or civil engineering, whatever it is, if you have these skills, come forward, join the UIC, get involved, and help us to repair your country. Don't sit on the sideline and leave politics to everybody else. Don't have your nice, cushy job as a lawyer or doctor or engineer or teacher or dentist or nurse and sit over there and wait for the rest of us to go and fix Jamaica for you. It's time for you to get involved in the political process. I am trained as a chartered professional accountant. I am trained as a certified general accountant, and I'm trained as an engineer, but I am not leaving my skills there. I am giving my time and my energy and my commitment to building a better Jamaica, and I'm bringing all of my knowledge from accounting, finance, and business and engineering to help my country because it's clear that those who are in charge are only helping themselves. So I'm inviting you, all of you out there who have skills, who have abilities, you may even have a little bit of money. Get involved in the process. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Because if you do, you may find that you wake up to a monster that we call government. And that monster, at the click of a finger, can wipe out all that you hold dear. It can destroy your economy. It can destroy your health. It can destroy your family by destroying your country. And so I'm asking you, please, wherever you are, whoever you are, get off the sidelines. Stop being a spectator and get involved in solving the problems of your country. The UIC is yours. The UIC is for all Jamaicans. Please get involved. Please volunteer. Please donate. And let's make it happen. I can assure you, the private sector organization of Jamaica, the big wigs, the ones who are funding the two major party, they have no interest in funding the UIC. So we're not going to get any big money from any one of those organizations. Please know that. We're never going to be funded by them. So don't sit there and tell me what I need to go and do. I get your messages. Many people send me messages. Mr. Patterson, what you need to do is this. What you need to do is that. Go there, go here, go there. No, 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 no. What will you do to help? How much will you donate to help us to go there and go there? Yeah? As my personal finances continues to sink, as I spend more and more time working on your behalf, what will you do to help? How much will you donate? Can you set up a recycling donation on our page to send us $25 a month, $50 a month, US I'm talking about here? Or if you have your business here in Jamaica or you're an employee here, will you give $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month to help? Or will you just sit on the sidelines and wait and say, let me see what Mr. Patterson is going to do now? Well, as long as you do that, after a while, Mr. Patterson going dead. I'm going to run out of money. I'm going to run out of energy. I'm going to get stressed out and explode. So please, I'm being very serious here, right? I'm leveling with you here. I'm leveling with you, right? Because I think sometimes we're very unrealistic. Yeah? We're expecting miracles. There's no miracles here. This will only happen because you and I make it happen. There's no you know, fairy tale or Santa Claus or whatever. You and I are going to have to roll up our sleeves and make this happen. We're in a massive fight. The government of Jamaica, the Jamaica Labour Party that currently has our government, they are going to spend our tax dollars left, right, and center to fool us. They're going to use our own money. They're going to make promises like they're making now. They're going to promise you that they're going to now make us a republic. Don't be fooled again. Don't allow them to fool you again. They have done this for 78 years. Let the promises they make go through 1 year and come out the other. Don't trust a single promise. Even if they make Jamaica a republic, it will be a fake republic. Mark my words. If they even make Jamaica a republic, it will be a fake republic. It will not be a real republic. It will not change anything. If tomorrow they got up and tell you no more queen, it will not change anything. Your economy will still be rotten. Their regulations will still be excessive and oppressive to small and micro businesses while protecting big businesses. Your wages will still be low. Your education system will still be poor. Your health care will still be a health scare. So it doesn't matter what promise Andrew or Mark makes. It doesn't matter what promises the JLP or PNP make. Nothing will change unless you change them. They are like dirty diapers. The best you can do is change them. There's no way to make it smell any better. So understand. Now, because we are not going to get the money from the private sector to run this party, right? We're not going to get the money from the big business sector, okay? Yes, we're getting from small donors. We're getting, every day we're getting $25, $50, $100, $200 from small donors. US I'm talking about. Every day there are local Jamaicans who are giving $1,000 a month, 2,000, 3,000. But we need a lot more. If we're going to be able to do this work for you, we need a lot more. Yeah? So we need the help. Don't sit there and watch and wait for something to change. You have to be the change. You have to play your part. I'm trying my very best to be as candid with you as possible, as straightforward with you as possible. I can't afford to pretend. I can't afford to pretend as though all is going to be well if we just wish that all is well. There are many Jamaicans who cannot have internet right now to watch like you're watching, right? So we have to go reach them. That is gas. That is printing costs. That is credits, phone credits. Yeah? That is time away from work. All of our candidates, the vast majority of our candidates, are ordinary Jamaicans with little and in some cases no income, not much of an income. They're small operators. We have vendors, we have teachers, we have nurses, we have engineers, we have accountants, we have shopkeepers, we have hardware store operators, we have dressmakers, we have community organizers, all kinds of persons we have. Yeah? But we need your financial support. We need your volunteer support. We need your advertising support. We can't do it alone. And so I'm calling upon all of you who are listening, all of you who are listening, all of you, find some space in your budget to help fund the UIC. Put us on the same platform that you may have placed even church. Yeah. Send us a little bit of your income so that we can do the work that you want us to do. I am committed to doing it. All of our candidates are committed to doing it. We also need to reach new people who want to be candidates. If you're out there and you want to be a candidate, sign up now. Go on our website, uicjamaica.com. Sign up tonight and click the button that I want to be a council candidate or I want to be an MP candidate, and start the process so we can vet you properly, train you properly, and have you represent your community. Get involved. Yeah? You might be overseas. Raise your hand and say, I want to sponsor a candidate. Yeah, I want to adopt a candidate. And get one of our candidates and adopt them. Be a part of their team. Discuss with them what their policies are, what programs they want to implement in their community, and donate to that cause so that they will have the funds to get around and represent you. Yeah. Because just imagine, you might be living in Canada or the UK or Toronto, or US or somewhere for many years. And you have your community, let's say in Lloydesville, in St. Catherine, but you haven't been there for a number of years, or you go maybe once every 5 years or so. You can be a part of the life of a candidate. Join with that candidate and donate to their campaign. Donate through the UIC so that we can make sure the funds are spent appropriately and accounted for properly. And help that candidate now to get the work done so that when you come back to visit Lloydesville or to retire in Lloydesville, it's a better place because it's better represented for you. Yeah? Yes. So let's join. Help a candidate. We have to fund 228 council candidates and 63 MP candidates. Help us to do that. Yeah. Get involved that way. You might want to join one of our committees. You might want to join the Constitution Committee to help us with the full design of the new Constitution for Jamaica. You can raise your hand for that and join the committee. Donate some money to help us with the work, the legal work and so on that we need to do for that. You might want to join the Education Committee to lend your expertise to the development of our education platform. You might want to join our Healthcare Committee to help with developing the solutions for healthcare. You might want to join our JUMP committee, the Jamaica Upliftment Monitor Program, which we're using to fund micro enterprises across the country. You want to get involved in that and sit on the board and help to encourage Jamaicans abroad to fund the program so we can help more and more of our young entrepreneurs in Jamaica. Get involved. Get involved. Yeah, don't just sit on the sideline. Get involved and help us to make the change that you seek. And so let me say again, we don't want to welcome no royals here. You're all royals. Every one of you that are listening tonight, you are royal. Nobody is more royal than you. Nobody is more sovereign than you. You are just as important as anyone else. It's up to you, however, whether or not you're going to make a difference in your community, in your society, in your country. And I invite all of you to join me in this quest. Let's make sure that the last election is the last one that is won by any of the two old colonial parties. Let's make sure that we elect a UIC government to bring real change, to build our economy, build our society, and create a real new Jamaica for you and your children, your grandchildren, and your great grandchildren. It's time for change. Thank you very much. God bless you until we speak again. All the best. Bye bye.